Hi, I'm Tom Ray from Lorenzo's Music, and today I'm going to be going over how we set up our 18-channel sound card right here for our DAW Ardour to use in our weekly band live streams. Now this is all done using Ubuntu Studio, which comes with everything that we need installed to set up these live streams. I'm going to go over how we route all of the instruments from the sound card into our DAW so we can then send the stereo output to our OBS live stream. So here we go. First, we are going to open a new Ardour session. Now, since we're starting a new session, I'm going to hit New Session, and I'm going to name it something like Band Live Stream Template. That's how you spell it, right? Yes. Good. And I'm going to open it, and it will create a new session in Ardour. So the goal here, now that we have this open, is we're going to create this template and then save it in a folder that we remember so we can find it each week for our live stream. So for me right now, it's showing the mixer window, and I want to go to the editor window so I can choose the menu here, because this is how just in a few minutes we're going to create all the tracks that we need for this template. So up at the top, I select Add Track or Bus, and I'm going to open this window. I have audio tracks selected, and I am going to, just by default for all 18 tracks, set that up. So I'm going to just open all 18, and in the add section, I'm going to put 18, and they're going to all be named audio, but we can change those later. Then I hit add and close, and then all of the tracks that I need are now in the main window. Now we are going to go through the full setup of these tracks, and we're going to name them and make sure that they're all connected properly, just so we don't have headaches later on. Now, the way that I can name them, I'll select this first one here, double click on the name or the title that's at the top, and I'm going to put in drums. So I'm only going to put 2 drums, and I'm going to name them both drums, and I'll explain this in a second. There you go. I got drums and drums 1. Now, the reason I'm only putting in 2 drums is because Rob actually only does 2 inputs for drums. Over at his drum set over there, he has a mixing board where he runs all of the stuff that he has mic'd up for his drums through his own mixer, because he likes to control his sound, make sure that he can make everything sound properly. We run that stereo out into the sound card. He mixes his drums. He can set his own levels. He pays attention to the whole thing, and then I don't have to mix anything. I just have to watch the levels, which actually works out much better. So we only have 2 inputs for the drums. Now next, we're going to put in bass. And then we're going to put in horns. We'll put in my vocals. And then put in my keys. Now we have a bunch more that we could be adding, but I'm just going to set up this basic template for time, and I can fix the rest later. So what we want to do now is go back to the mixer window, and where all the buses are, up at the top, we want to check that the right channels from the sound card are going through. So right here, you can see at the top, I have the tracks that I named at the top from the editor window, and then right underneath them are where the channel inputs from the sound card are. And the drums are going in through 1 and 2, which those are already there. So those are fine. Now the bass we have over here in channel 18, even though I'm putting that right next to the drums. So I want to set that one to channel 18. And the other thing too is these channel inputs, they start at 0. Even though I'm selecting one, I don't know why this is, and it confuses me all the time, but when you open it up, it shows you the channels as input 1 all the way up to the other input numbers. But it starts at 0. So 1 is 0 when you're looking at it. Don't know why it's set up that way. It's something in the newest version that they just did, but yes, this says 0, but it's actually channel 1. So anyway, that's because I wanted to show, even though I put in 18, it says 17. Then I'm going to put in the horns, and the horns over here are labeled as 17. I'm going to do 17. My vocals, I know, are in 13. The keys are 12 because I know they're in the channel before that. And that's the setup that we have so far. So that here is how we connect the channels to the proper bus that we set up. And I have all these other channels, and if I wanted to, I could just delete all these extra channels. Actually, let me do that. Let me show you how you can do that. So let's say, and I have all the extra channels set up, so I can just select the first channel here that just says audio from before, the unnamed one, scroll down to the bottom one, hold shift, and then click again. Now they're all red, and I can right click and remove, and it will say, do you want to remove them? And I'll go, why, yes, I do. Boom. Now I just have the channels that I'm going to be using. Now, another thing I'd like to point out, while I was putting these channels in, I would look over at the sound card. That's because what we did is we put tape on the sound card to show what microphone is going into what channel. That way I could just look here, and whenever I need to do a recording or specifically for the live stream, I can double check and make sure that we have the proper channel hooked up in each one of these inputs, and I know where to connect it to. So just like naming the tracks in Ardour in our DAW, naming the channel inputs for the microphones on the sound card also saves a lot of headaches later on, and it makes it much easier to hook stuff up. Once we have this set up as a template, I don't really have to worry about that again. But if I ever need to make level changes when I'm looking at the levels in the DAW here, I can just look over and see which channel on the sound card I should turn up or down for the input level. Now, another thing I can do too, and this is for, say, if I want to change some of the mixes for a specific section of the band in the DAW, I can group these channels. So for the drums, I'm probably always going to want to keep their levels and the things I do to them consistent with each other because it's a left in and a right in. So I can create a group here by going to the left of the bus on the editor window, drag, and you see I'm creating a little strip there, open it, and I can name this drums, and it creates a group. So now that group lives here, and if I switch back to the mixer, it lives here on the top. You can see it's the same group. Now I can have these on or off. So with them on, the color shows, and if you'll notice here, I can pull one bus up, but both of them go the equal amount. So that's helpful. But if it is like one of the channels is coming in stronger than the other, or I don't want them to be together, I can click on that group, and now they're not connected at all, and I can move them freely. And I can create as many of these as I want. And like, let's say I just want the instruments to be in one channel. Oh, here's something that I just realized. Okay, let's get rid of that group. If I wanted to control the instruments altogether, I have the vocals here before the keys. So let's say I want to switch the arrangement of the tracks. And with the vocals above the keys, I can't just create a group, but because the vocals are in the way. So I can select the vocals, and if I hold Control, and then I can go up or down to move the track while I'm holding the control button. So I can put vocals at the bottom now, and now the keys, the horns, and the bass are all together. So I can create a group for the instruments. Okay, that's not how you spell instruments, but that's fine. Who cares? And I have that group now. So if I want to turn all of the instruments down, because say the drums are quieter than the rest of the band, instead of adjusting everything else or just adjusting the drums, I can just turn the band down as a whole, and then the drums are louder. Or vice versa. If the drums are louder, I can just turn up the band or just turn down the drums. Either way, you get what I'm going for here. That's how you can create groups if you want to do that. But here's one thing that the groups can help even if you do it temporarily. So I deleted the groups, and I'm going to create one big long group because, and I'm not even going to name it because it's just for one thing that I'm going to do. When I first start this, I need all of the instruments armed for record. And if I did still have the 18 channels, I'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not a big deal, but I can just drag a big group there, hit record, and now they're all armed for record. So that's a quick thing to do. And the reason we arm them for record, we have to have them armed for record for the tracks to actually go into Ardour and get levels so they can go out to OBS. But we don't actually have to ever run Ardour like recording or playing it while we do these sessions. It's just something we have to do so the sound will go through. So everything's armed for record. The tracks are set up. They're all routed the right way. So what we can do here to control different sort of EQ or compression, or say if we want to roll off some of the low end on the bass, we can switch back over to the mixer, and on the tracks, we can add those here in Ardour. So let's say on the bass, we want to use I'm going to pick an EQ here, and I'm going to open that up. We've got an EQ, and I'm just going to roll off some of the bass on this. So I'm going to do a high pass filter, so I can do that. And on top of it, just because I know his bass can go really loud and really quiet, I'm also going to put a compressor on it. And that compressor I can set like this. I'm just going to set it so that it doesn't peak. It peaks below 0, hopefully, but I'm going to leave the release and the attack on there so it's still a bit natural. For the horns, I know it has a lot of high end in it, so we can even add some EQ to that. And I'm going to say take down some of this. I'm just guessing on these. If he was actually playing, we could test it more, but I'm just showing you what we can do. So that way we can take out some of that tone in there. And on the vocals, I would also add a compression. And I'm just going to use regular compression because I can get loud. Sometimes I'll sing quiet, sometimes I sing loud. We want to make sure that it doesn't clip out a lot. Now, what I would want to do is monitor the levels as we're doing this, see if anything peaks, and I would adjust accordingly. Now, after we have this all set up, one basic thing we do is kind of a quick sound check. It's a method just to make sure that we have the levels. While we could just go, hey, make some noise and check the levels and see if it's there. Once we're playing in this room together, because we're all amped in this room, we're running through a PA system, and this sound card is separate from that going into the DAW. So we will play to the room. We will get louder in the room. Once we're playing along with the drums, we play harder, I sing louder, everything is louder. So it's just like doing a sound check at, say, a club or something. I'll eye the levels while we're playing and make sure that nothing's peaking, or adjust things accordingly in the sound card. Also, I check the bus meters, and I run the meters at about -10 to -5. I would want them to peak out around here or here. Like this would be if we really get loud, but I want everything to average around -10 for our live streams. So this sound check routine is actually good for every stream. Even though we have it set, we still do a sound check, a pre-sound check before each live stream that we do. So now that I have all of this set up, I have the EQ, I have the tracks armed, I have the groups that I want, I have the levels the way I want, and I have everything named, I can save this as a reusable template. I can save this whole session here by going to Session, Save, and it will save the session. And when I close it, I'll be able to use it every week for the live stream. And when I make any changes to it, I'll save that again, and those changes will be there for next week. So we build upon this template over and over again as we reuse it, as we learn more things about it, as we add things to it. And each week, just keep updating it, keep fixing it, keep tweaking it, and just save the output, and it's always there ready for the live stream. This will reduce our setup and time before every single stream that we do. And that's it. That is our complete Ardour live stream template setup for the band stream that we do every week. And if you liked this, subscribe to the channel. I post stuff about how we use open source tools like Ubuntu Studio, Ardour, the plugins that I use, the equalizer and everything else. Those are pre-installed in Ubuntu Studio. So it really helps us out in creating our band stream and for our recordings that we do for every album. And if you want to learn more, there's an email link description below in our comments. If you join our email list, you'll get a free download of the entire setup that we do here in our studio, including how we use our phones as wireless cameras for the live stream. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.